9:50, Big 550 KTRS. Scott Sherman, funny, he comes in on the days that Dale Rawlings from Yellow Farmhouse Winery comes in with some wine. Good morning, Dale Rawlings from Yellow Farmhouse Winery.
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing great. What a great weekend to go out to the wineries.
Oh, gosh. The lords of the weather have blessed us.
You've had a good summer weather-wise.
It has been. It started pretty lousy this spring with a cold, wet spring, but all summer it's been cool. And I got back from Canada this week. I was up in Toronto, and it was cooler here than in Toronto.
What does this do for the grapes that are on your campus out there?
They're maturing slower.
Okay.
It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad year. They're just taking longer to come up. We got to get their sugar levels up, and they haven't really begun to rise yet.
Yellow Farmhouse Winery is right there on Highway 94 in Defiance, next to the biker bars. How do you know what the weather's doing to the grapes? Do you test the grapes?
We test them with a spectrometer. We go out, we put a drop of juice on it, we look at it, and it breaks it down into the contents, and we can tell how much sugar's in it. And that's what we're watching, is the sugar content as it comes up.
That's really fascinating. You gave me a tour of Yellow Farmhouse Winery a couple months ago, and it was really neat to see how wine is made from start to finish. And you can do that for anybody out there.
Well, we're a true winery. I mean, we make our wine there, and we grow the grapes. And we grow about 60% of what we use, and we buy the other 40% from other Missouri growers.
Right.
We do bring in a couple of grapes from California, but we make the wine there with them.
You're coming into the busy season, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's starting to
busy
hit,
season.
and including weddings. Weddings pick up like mad in the fall.
Right. And this is the first season with that new pavilion. How's that going?
It's going great. It's going great. It's just served the purpose well, and people seem to love it.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there and sit there with a blanket and a little fire. And
yeah, we do provide blankets too. We have our own blankets.
As soon as I find a woman who will say yes, I'll be out there.
Keep your hands above the blanket.
Yellow Farmhouse Winery on Highway 94. All right, what did you bring us?
Well, we're going to talk about port this morning. Port is a fortified wine that is made in a lot of places. It's not difficult to make. And the settlers down the Missouri River Valley started making this out there about 150 years ago. Once they mastered Norton, they kind of moved into the derivatives of it, and port is one of the
Is port
products.
A before or after dinner wine? Or
it's an after dinner. It's a sweet wine.
Okay.
And it's a fortified wine, meaning that it has other things in it, and one of those things is brandy. So it's a stronger, higher alcohol content.
Right. Hand that over now.
And so we brought a little bit to try. Want to try it out? Let's Scott be the first.
All right. So this is Yellow Farmhouse Winery's with port.
Now,
Port
Dale,
wine with brandy.
Well,
oh, brother.
Or does this still have brandy?
All port has brandy in it, and what else is in it is up to the winemaker. It's a recipe wine. In other words, each winemaker uses his or her own recipe to make the wine, but a standard ingredient in port is some brandy.
So this is kind of like Grandma's soup after Thanksgiving.
That's
it
right.
all has turkey in it, but it's Grandma's famous
That's
recipe.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So this is your.
This is ours.
This is
We've been
your
making
port.
this about 5 years, and we generally release it in the fall. So it's a great wintertime wine.
Smells really good.
It smells really, really good.
You know, a lot of these wine, people, they pretend that the stuff smells good. Dale, this just smells delicious.
Well, we like to say if you can find a better port than this, buy it, because you'll have yourself a good port.
Wow.
Brother, that is really good.
That is. Now, I thought I've had port wines before, and they were like almost undrinkable because they were too high in alcohol or too
much bite to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Well, we limit our percentages, and I if I told you the percentage, I'd have to kill you because that's part of the secret.
Right.
But we limit the percentages of the things that bite you.
Is that something called tannins? I mean, am I making that up, or is that the right term?
No. Well, the tannins in this dessert type wine come from the Norton wine. So the Norton grape is the big producer of tannins. The older it is, the more you reduce the tannins. Now, that's one of the secrets of this that I can talk about. This is 3 years old, so we don't put our Norton into it until we age it 3 years.
So this wine has taken 3 years to make. So
that's right.
You've been working on this wine for 3 years.
Right.
This is one of the most
Holy
subtle
mackerel.
and smooth and drinkable things I've ever had. I'm really shocked because I was like, I'm going to have to pretend that I like this.
I would say I
oil.
liked it, but actually I really do like it.
Comes in a thing that was like olive oil. I'm like, it's going to taste like vinegar. Dale, this is delicious.
Is it better to have a port after pasta, fish, steak? What?
Yeah, it's a dessert wine, and it goes best with sweet things. In fact, the best sweet things are made out of chocolate. So, and that's not just limited to pure chocolate, although it goes great with chocolate bars, but things like brownies or chocolate cake
Right.
or something with chocolate syrup on it goes great with it.
All right, so we're heading to and from Highway 94. We can't stop off. We can stop in and pick up some port wine.
We're 35 feet off the highway, pull right in, and we don't have a drive-through, but I think the State Liquor Control would frown on that.
Right. But you can check out the Norton and the Chamberson and the Rosé and the now port.
Right.
So is this port? Is this the? You're bringing it out for the fall. So this is the fall.
Right. It's a fall drink. Now let me explain to you a very interesting little legal nuance.
Yeah.
We can't call this port anymore.
Of course.
After 2007, the United States entered into a treaty with Portugal that we would no longer label our port-like wines with a region of Portugal. We did the same with Champagne.
Yep.
We did the same
Okay.
with Chianti. It was
Okay.
all part of a big treaty. So we can't call this port anymore. We refer to it as dessert wine. So, but we know what you're talking about when you ask for port.
Right. Gotcha. So you can call it port. We can call it port, but on the label it has to say dessert wine.
Well, yeah, and we sought a label from the ATF that said it was called we can't call it port anymore, but they wouldn't go along with it.
The wine formerly
They would-
known as port.
Yeah, they wouldn't go along with that.
This is really
Let me tell
good.
you, some chocolate, like a s'mores or something, and a fire and a blanket, and this.
Hmm?
McGraw, even I could get a lady to go out to Yellow Farmhouse Winery with
That
me.
is really good wine.
This
All right.
is really
Yellow Farmhouse
really good.
Winery, Highway 94. It's as simple as soon as you get to the biker bars, you're there.
You're there, right?
Websites?
Yes, www.yellowfarmhousewines.com.
Perfect for weddings, anniversary parties. You got a big, huge, giant pavilion, covers you from the rain. You have a big, giant fireplace. Sit on the countryside, watch the world go by, drink your dessert wine. I'll call it port. You have to call it dessert wine.
And you can bring food. You can bring food basket.
It's a great place. It's the first winery you come to on Highway 94, Yellow Farmhouse Winery. Dale, thanks for coming in,
Thank you.
and thanks for the wine.
Yeah.
Thanks for the education. Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. Follow us on Twitter. Yell at us on Facebook.